Gentlemen, it's such a pleasure to have you here with us today. And we welcome you to today's briefing. The session is herewith called to order. And want to ask our superintendent if we have any presentations or public announcements at this time.
Good morning, Madam
Public
Chair.
comments, rather.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Madam Chair. Yes, ma'am. We do. We have my good friend and esteemed president of Albany Technical College, Dr. Emmett Griswold, who will be giving an update regarding Albany Technical College and its relationship with Dougherty County school system in general in Southwest Georgia. Dr. Griswold. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, board members. I just wanted to spend a few moments today just to give you an update on how well your students and our students are doing in Dougherty County as regards to student enrollment. I know Mr. Dyer and his team brags on their students, but it's good to hear from somebody from the outside to brag on them as well. So we want to do that here today.
We thank you.
So we just, I put on your desk in front of you, have a flyer that gives an update on each high school that we have, Dougherty, Monroe, and Westover on the school student enrollment participation that we have. If you look at the Dougherty flyer, we had 174 students who participated in student enrollment last year, academic year 2024, and currently this year, fall of 24, we had 162 students from Dougherty that participated. And if you look on the backside of each flyer, there's a success story, one success story of each school, many success stories, but we just pick one to showcase today. Same for Monroe High School. We have students that are participating in dual enrollment for last year. We had 137 students. Last fall and this fall we had 107 students for Monroe. And then for Westover, we had 233 students participating in dual enrollment last year, and we have 185 from fall that participated in dual enrollment. And then on the column on the sheet, it shows all the particular programs that they participated in. So students from Monroe, Westover, and Dougherty are participating at a high level, and also they're excelling in all of their studies with Albany Tech. So we just want to congratulate those students on participating in dual enrollment, how much it is an advancement in their career. I tell this story all the time about my two children who are product of the Dougherty County school system, who both participated in dual enrollment and both were able to get their BSs in 3 years. And then they're currently both of them working in the workforce. So I'm glad, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for their head start. They got a head start above their peers. You know, so while their peers were still in college, they were already working in the workforce. So again, dual enrollment is an advancement for all individuals. And I want every individual in Dougherty County to participate and have the advantage that my wife and I had with our children. So again, I just wanted to show appreciation and show and congratulate these students and show you how well they're doing. And I'll be willing to address any question you may have.
Madam Chair.
We certainly appreciate that, Dr. Griswold. Thank you very much. And I believe my board member would like to.
Okay.
Thank you. Dr. Griswold, again, good morning. What do you attribute the decline in the numbers for the students enrollment, and what can we do to increase that number or keep it up?
Well, we actually haven't had a decline. We've had an increase for the last couple of years. Superintendent and I have charged both our teams to increase the dual enrollment. So our goal, a couple of years ago, we had the president of Central Georgia Tech come down from Warner Robins and did a presentation. So in their school system, in Houston County, they have over 2,500 students in dual enrollment. And Central Georgia Technical College itself have about 4,700 dual enrollment students. So Mr. Dyer and I, we challenge our staff. We wanted maybe not 25, but at least I think 1,500 is a suitable goal that we're shooting for. So we steadily increase for the last 2 years. We're headed that way. So we're hopefully, if we continue to go as we now, we make the 950 or 1,000 mark by the end of this year.
And Madam Chair?
Yes.
And one thing, we were very intentional in our approach. We have Dougherty, Monroe, and Westover approved as sites to deliver classes through the accreditation agency, so they can deliver courses at our schools to our students that count as Albany Tech courses, and it reduces the transportation barrier so that more students will be able to participate.
4C, Dougherty, Monroe, and Westover approved extension sites for Albany Tech, so we can offer classes at those sites, like you said, to reduce that transportation barrier. And also, we are credentialing some of the instructors that are on site for them to teach there as well, so that helps for another barrier. So we're doing a lot of things that they're doing in Houston County, trying to do here to model to increase their role, because again, they're doing extremely well in dual enrollment. 55% of Central Georgia takes technical college, entire population is dual enrollment.
Right. Another board member?
Thank you so much for being here. As a point of clarity, the numbers given, it's for fall 2024 and then the entire academic year. So it's all semesters was, like, for example, Monroe was 137, and then just for this semester was 107. So maybe that was
Okay.
Right.
because I initially thought the same thing. But thank you, and I love the success stories on the back. It's always
We have plenty to give, but we just wanted to show you at least one.
I know, but yeah, I look forward to hearing more. Thank you for being here.
Do we have other questions? Thank you kindly,
Yeah,
sir.
thank
We
you.
appreciate you. We'll ask that you review the agenda at this time. Will we need executive session?
Yes, ma'am. If the board wishes, we'll have one for personnel, student matters, and property.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Board members, do you have any questions or comments about the agenda? Okay. Consideration of recommendation for employment of personnel. Consideration of recommendation for release of personnel. Consideration of recommendation to approve the purchase of facilities department vehicles. Consideration of recommendation to approve consent items, fundraising requests, out-of-state requests. Okay. Financial reports. Committee reports. Board items and discussion. Mr. Superintendent, may we hear from you
Yes, ma'am.
at this time?
All right. Superintendent's report for February 27th, 2025. We'll go our strategic plan updates, looking at priority 1, 2, and 3. And we'll update on our legislative priorities, have a villa update, and we'll go our celebrations and announcements. And then executive session, if the board approves, for personnel, student matters, and property. Now, I don't anticipate any action out of that executive session, so depending on the timing, Madam Chair, we can certainly have it after the meeting agenda, the official meeting. It will be up to the board, of course. Of course, our vision for the Dougherty County school system is that we're a destination school system that, in collaboration with families and community stakeholders, provides quality educational and social development experiences that empowers graduates to be successful and impactful contributors to society. And our mission is to meet the academic and non-academic needs of our students with the rigorous and relevant educational experiences that equip them to succeed in life. Our strategic plan update, of course, our priority areas are early literacy, academic rigor and relevance, social and emotional wellness, investment in human capital, and family and community engagement. And with our early literacy and academic rigor and relevance, we conduct a review consistently, but we look at quarterly, provide updates to the board, and this update will include a summary of MAP Lexile scores, Beacon, which is our interim assessments provided through the state of Georgia in ELA and math. And we'll provide summaries. The detailed information will be provided at the next Instructional Accountability Committee meeting, but this is a summary of that data. Year-over-year comparisons suggest that some progress in foundational leadership skills have been made, but that there are some inconsistencies among the grade levels. We compare fall to winter, the last administration to the current administration of the test, as well as last year's winter versus this year's winter. And so from fall to winter, elementary schools remain stable, although some grades showed some minor drops. And from last winter to this winter, there's a moderate increase in the lower grades, but minimal progress in 5th grade in winter to winter. The decline is evident in middle school ELA, particularly in 8th grade, and that suggested some need for some curriculum adjustments or pacing that we need to work on. And then the winter, last winter to this winter, 3rd and 4th grade show slight increases, while 5th grade shows stagnant growth. Last winter to this winter, in terms of 6th grade math, it shows progress, but 7th and 8th grade math shows a downward trend, signaling the need for intervention. And our lowest achieving is 7th grade math, and our lowest progress is 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade ELA. They show lowest progress both from fall to winter as well as year over year. So our next steps as a result of that, with ELA, we're looking at grades 3 through 5, continuing to implement our targeted literacy interventions such as small group instruction and phonics-based strategies. 6th and 8th focus on reading comprehension skills and continue to emphasize writing integration across our subjects. For math, 3rd through 5th, strengthen conceptual understanding through hands-on activities and real-world problem solving. Grade 6 through 8, address middle school gaps through structured remediation, increase interactive math practice, and implement and expand personalized tutoring for struggling students using the tutor.com resource that the district provides free of charge to our students. And our general recommendations is continue to use data-informed instruction and utilize assessment trends to guide the lesson planning and differentiation. For targeted support, prioritize resources for 7th grade math and middle school ELA, given their lack of progress, and leverage our after-school or Saturday school for additional targeted support and intervention. And our schools, all of our schools have already started implementing the Saturday school and after-school activities. And then, of course, provide additional professional development on best practices in literacy and numeracy for our teachers. Any questions regarding that? And again, the Instructional Accountability Committee will get detailed information on those assessment results at their next meeting. Next, priority area, social and emotional wellness. As you know, for the last couple of years, we've administered a PHQ-8 wellness or depression screener, and they'll be administered again this month and beginning of next month. So they start on the 24th of February. They'll go through March, and as the board has set social and emotional wellness as priority in the strategic plan, and noticing the increase in behavioral health issues and mental health concerns with adolescents and teenagers across the country, the board has authorized us to do mental health screenings, particularly depression screenings for our middle and high school students. And we've ranged in the area of range of 24% of the middle and high school students who were screened show signs of moderately severe, or severe depression. And that's in keeping with national trends. So in addition to the screeners, the board also, through the school-based mental health grant that we were awarded, provides mental health counseling, behavioral health counseling to our students free of charge, and using our social workers as well as our third-party clinical providers through Albany Area Primary Healthcare, Aspire Behavioral Health Center, and Fidelity Healthcare Group. And we'll continue that as students are screened and demonstrate a need for intervention services. Next, our strategic plan process, as we look at developing our new strategic plan, as Dr. Finley mentioned in our last meeting, that process has already begun. Our next step in the process will have stakeholder focus group meetings, and we'll start those beginning next month. We'll look at, of course, parents, students, teachers, support staff, and community stakeholders, such as members of the chamber, the EDC, Phoebe Putnam Memorial Health System, Albany State, Albany Tech, and other groups who we work with regularly as we shape our plan to meet the needs of our entire community. Legislative updates. Of course, you know our legislative priorities are expansion of pre-K classrooms, adding a weight for economically disadvantaged students, state health benefit plans, more participation from the state, teacher pipeline, and early literacy. Of course, our pre-K classroom expansion, we were able to expand by 8 classrooms over the last 2 years. We don't anticipate having that large of an increase, although Dr. Solomon would certainly welcome it. We are looking at getting another 1 or 2 classrooms added this year. We have 8 classrooms. Dr. Solomon says 10. I think she's counting a closet or something that she's going to expand, but she'll put them in any place that she can get them. But yeah, we're looking at getting another 1 or 2 classrooms this year added, because even though we did expand last year, we still had a waiting list. And as long as we have a waiting list, we want to make sure that we continue to expand. Our adding a weight for economically disadvantaged students, I'm happy to say that has gotten some traction. I think I mentioned at the last meeting that Gerald Green, Representative Gerald Green, one of members of the dean of our local delegation, he is one of the co-sponsors of a bill in the House to add a weight, 25% weight, funding weight to students who are economically disadvantaged. So students whose families receive support from the government, SNAP, TANF, they would, whatever funding that they earn as a student, would be a 25% weight added to that. There's another bill in the House that, in the Senate that was introduced that adds a 50% weight to students who are economically disadvantaged. Haven't gotten an update on the progress of those bills yet, but I do know the bill in the House is co-sponsored by both Democrats and Republicans. So it's a bipartisan effort in that regard, and we'll speak about that a little later when we get to the Promise School Act. State health benefits plan, there has been no movement on this particular piece of our legislative priority, although there have been some discussions about having the state participate more or slowing down the increase in rates. There has been no discussion or bills introduced for the state to pick up a portion of the cost for non-classified employees. As you know, they pick up the cost for certified employees. They don't participate in the cost for classified employees. A teacher pipeline, expansion of House Bill 385. There is, and I stand corrected on this. I initially reported that this bill sunsets at the end of this fiscal year. It actually sunsets at the end of the 2026 fiscal year. So this bill still goes through 2026, yes, ma'am. But we're still pushing for expansion. Yeah. Still pushing for expansion. And there is a bill that's been introduced that expands the House Bill 385. As you know, the retiree can return to work if they have at least 30 years of service. And the average years of service for TRS employee retiree is about 26 years, 25, 26 years. So the average employee wouldn't even qualify for this bill. It has a 1-year waiting period. You have to be retired for at least 1 year before you can come back full time. And you have to come back in one of 3 high needs areas as determined by the number of vacancies in your RESA. So in the Southwest RESA is math, science, and special ed. In another RESA, it may be elementary science and social studies. It all depends. our contention is that if you have a vacancy in social studies, it's just as critical as a vacancy in science to that
That's right.
principle. So we're advocating for reducing the required years of service, eliminating the 1 year waiting period, and expanding. Again, I told you before, I advocated for elementary, middle, and high being the 3 areas. They didn't go for that. But at least the 4 core areas: math, science, social studies, and English. But I would also venture to say that you have someone who's a gifted music teacher, and particularly in some rural areas where you don't have people coming there, it would be beneficial for them as well. But starting at least with the core areas, and then trying to get the other areas included as well. There is a bill that's been introduced that reduces the years of service to 25, eliminates the 1 year waiting period, and expands to all content areas, and with a sunset of the end of the 2031 school year. So it's being introduced. If it passes, it'll have to go through an actuarial study through our Department of Audits to look at the fiscal impact on the state, and it will be acted on in the next legislative session, which will be in time for it to be passed prior to this bill sunsetting. Workforce housing, we have not. Our plan is to ask our Representative Green to get a legal opinion from the Legislative Council regarding the legality of providing workforce housing as a employee benefit. It hadn't been done in Georgia yet. I don't think there's any issue with it, but we want to make sure that we get a legal opinion on that from the Legislative Council first. But in the meantime, we have been in contact with the Governor's office as well as the city manager and the county administrator for a joint effort to provide workforce housing for multiple segments of our population in terms of teachers, first responders, healthcare workers, through private partner development, spearheaded through either the school system, the city, county, or our Economic Development Commission. And so there is a real appetite for increasing the housing inventory in our community, and we will either do this as a standalone project or in concert with other community stakeholders that have an interest in it as well. So we're making real progress there. Early literacy, we asked that the state to consider participating in the cost of implementing the high quality instructional material requirement as passed by the Georgia, as required in the Georgia Literacy Act. It was passed last legislative session. There has not been any movement on that, but they have agreed to provide funding for a high quality screener that is being required through that act. We already pay for a screener, and so and the screener they've identified as the screener that will be free is a mirror of the screener that we use. So we'll be glad to allow them to pay for that screener, and then the funds that we were using for that screener we could use to help pay for the high quality instructional material. So it's not exactly what we asked for, but it certainly is. Moving in that direction to provide some financial relief for that requirement. Looks like I may have missed one. The teacher pipeline. I'm sorry, extending the teacher pay scale. I skipped that one. There has not been any legislative action to extend the teacher pay scale. As you know, the teacher pay scale stops at step 21. Right. So teachers don't get, I see Ms. Heath, not yes ma'am. And so teachers don't get raises after that step. And so those are some of your most valuable teachers, educators. They serve as teacher leaders, they serve as mentors to the younger teachers. And so to not provide them with pay increases after step 21 could give the wrong impression that they're not valued after year 21. And of course they certainly are. And although there's no movement to extend the teacher pay scale, there has been legislation introduced to provide an automatic cost of living adjustment pay increase for the teacher pay scale. So although they won't get a step increase, at least they would keep up with the cost of inflation. And that's a step in the right direction. We'll continue to advocate for extending the teacher pay scale this session. Although as we approach the halfway point, I don't think there's a realistic chance that that will get approved this year. But I do think that the inflationary increase is a step in the right direction, and hope that will get approved, and then we'll add on that next year. We'll keep it if it's the board's desire, keep that as a legislative priority moving forward. Again, remember, it took us 6 years to get that significant increase in pre-K expansion, so advocacy works. It just takes some time, and so we'll continue to advocate. The Georgia Promise School Promise Scholarship list is, I think it's finally final. I think that's the third or fourth list. There are 509 schools on that list. Nine are, and the Dougherty County Schools, and 9 of our 21 schools are on that list. As I mentioned before, it was presented as legislation, it was presented as schools, students who were zoned for that particular school, their families would qualify for a $6,500 voucher to go private school, home school, or other educational expenses. When it was passed, and it passed by 1 vote in the House, when it was passed, the interpretation by the agency that administers this program had a fairly expansive interpretation. It said that any student who lives in the attendance zone of any school on the list, so even an elementary school student who lives in the zone of a high school that's on the list, their family would also be eligible for the voucher, even though that student is not eligible, is not enrolled in that school. The Speaker of the House, the Speaker Pro Tem of the House, and the House Education Committee Chair all said that was not their understanding of the bill that they supported, and that they were looking to get that interpretation reinterpreted. That was in December when I spoke with the House Education Committee Chair, I'm not telling any secrets. It's a matter of public record. The House Education Committee Chair, Speaker Pro Tem, and the Speaker of the House are all on record stating that was not what they advocated for, and that was not the interpretation that they had. Of course, that has not been reinterpreted. So right now, any student that lives in the attendance zone of any school on the list is eligible. Even a high school student who lives in the zone of an elementary school that's on the list, although there's no chance that high school student will ever be impacted by that elementary school being on the list. There's been a bill introduced to repeal the Senate Bill 233. I don't think that's going to get any traction. Even if it passes the House, I doubt it will get any traction on the Senate. It'll probably be dead on arrival in the Senate. But just as a looking at some data associated with this, I want to thank Dr. Finley for having this done. Of the 509 schools on the list, 443, 87% have equal to or greater than 50% of their students. Families are direct search, meaning their families get support from the government in terms of SNAP, TANF benefits. 66%, 13% have fewer than 50%. Let's think that sink in. 87% of the schools on that list, their students come from families who get direct services or support from the government because they're economically disadvantaged. Only 13% of the schools on the list are under 50% of their students have less than 50% of their students who get direct support from the government or who are economically disadvantaged. So this is really a list showing you where your economically disadvantaged students go to school. And it also supports our priority number 2. We knew this was an issue. Research shows it's an issue. The list proves that it's an issue. And I have no qualms, and I say this publicly, about school choice. Students, families have a right to choose what they think is in the best interest of their students, of their children. And I don't have any issues with that whatsoever. But the concern I have is diverting public funds for this effort when the needs are great in the public schools. If we're fully funding our public schools to the extent that they need them, then diverting the funds would not be much of an issue for me. But when we don't fund the schools to the level that those students who are needed the most have what they need to be successful, then that's where my problem comes in with the voucher bill. So we'll continue to advocate for our priority number 2. We'll use the data that we've begun to compile, and this is just preliminary data. We're going to do some more analysis on this to help bolster the case for our priority number 2, and to support either the Senate bill or the House bill that's being introduced to do just that. So that's where we are with our updates. I do have one that I don't have a slide for, and it goes to our teacher pipeline. On February 10th, we recognized 2 of our employees, Ms. Sade Bryan and Ms. Ariana Albritton, for being the first 2 graduates of the Generate program through Mercer University, where they earned a Master's of Arts in Teaching through a federal grant that Mercer received. We have 16 people in that program. We recognized them on February 10th. On February 12th, I got an email from Mercer that they were notified on February 10th that that program, the funding for that program, was terminated effective immediately. As part of the defunding of several federal grants with the current administration in D.C. So the implications are that we have 4 out of our remaining students scheduled to graduate this spring, and they should be fine because their tuition have been paid through the grant already. We have the others who remain in the program are scheduled to graduate this fall, but they would still have to go summer school, summer semester, and fall semester to complete requirements for graduation in the fall. And those students are now in limbo because their funding has been cut, so they won't have that opportunity. We've been working with Mercer to find out what options we have available to us. I'm also going to have some discussions with some of our state schools who have a Master's of Arts in Teaching program that's much less expensive to see if they will accept the credits from Mercer, or if they take the other 2 semesters of courses, whether Mercer would accept those as transfer credits, and we get a degree from both of those, either one of those schools. So we're looking at ways to help those students. You hate for them to go this program this far, and then the last 2 semesters they don't complete. So that's one of the challenges that we have, and how federal funding certainly can, or the lack thereof, can certainly create issues for our students and for our employees. Of course, you know, we are the recipients of several competitive grants, federal grants. School-based mental health grant is a competitive federal grant. Our Project Prevent grant, which deals with character development in the elementary school, and our Gear Up grant, which is the last year for our Gear Up grant, which exposes our students, because you know we still have a lot of would-be first-generation college students. Gear Up exposes them to opportunities in higher ed. So those grants are all federally funded. We have not gotten any indication that they are in jeopardy of being terminated. Of course, you know, when I click on my email every morning, I do it one eye open, hoping I don't see a notification. But so we're there, and we see that notification. We've already begun having discussions about contingency planning for budgeting for next year as we are in that process. Any questions about our legislative priorities? If not, then Villa, as you know, we had our first Villa session on February 13th, and it was, of course, one lay of the land, overview of structure, functions, and community involvement. And this is a picture of the group. On the left, you see our participants. We had some to leave a little early. Our city manager was there. We had another young lady there who had to leave early. But those are the participants. And on the left, you see me doing my best Steve Harvey impersonation. At the end of our session, we try to make it lively, make it engaging. And at the end of the session, we had what we call Villa Feud. And so you see the category, you see the bottom of the categories, the number of categories up there, but the answers rather. And so what we did was we had a session, we drew numbers, and we had 2 teams. We have 4 teams in this cohort, and 2 teams competed, and the team that won the most points will move on to the next round. So, and so we asked questions regarding the information that was shared during the session. And so the team that got the most points in Villa Feud, the survey says, right, yeah. And so they had a good time. They enjoyed themselves and they learned a lot. And we're looking forward to the next session, which is tonight. And it will be course 2, of course, and you'll see course 2, overview of the local school district, examine specifics of the school district operations, governance, and its impact on the community through example documents. And we'll go do a deep dive into our strategic plan and the process for our strategic plan. Then the next will be our educational operations. We'll look at our student achievement data and the trend data associated with that. And then on the 24th of March, we'll be looking at our financial operations data. And then we'll take some site visits to our schools, several schools on April 10th, with our culminating event being the graduation ceremony on April 24th. So again, Villa has kicked off. It was a great opening, and we look forward to course 2 tonight. All right, any questions? If not, celebrations and announcements. We have 2 winners. The elementary winner and middle school winner for our Read Bowl. You know, as early literacy is part of our priorities. We expanded to literacy in general with our Read Bowl. And so Westtown Elementary School was our district winner for the elementary category, and Albany Middle was the district winner for the middle school category, but also Albany Middle was the state winner in the middle schools. And they took a trip to the state capitol to visit with several legislators. And you see the bottom right hand there, that's Mr. Malcolm Mitchell, who's the founder and chair of the Share the Magic Foundation. He's a former Georgia Bulldog national championship winner at the University of Georgia, who realized late in life the importance of reading. So that's one of his passions. He started this. That's why you have a football theme. The Read Bowl is aligned with the Super Bowl time frame. And so they met with several legislators, including Senator Freddie Powell Sims. And they were treated to a tour of the Capitol, met with some dignitaries in the state, and they had their specially designed Albany Middle T-shirts that represented the district well. So I want to thank Mr. Simmons, Principal Simmons here, standing next to Malcolm, for his leadership, and Martez Favors, who's the assistant principal there, who is their point person for this effort. And here he is holding the state championship trophy that was provided by the Share the Magic Foundation for the Read Bowl. Also, Westtown Elementary, you see them again. They're the Westtown Robotics, the Wildcats, earned their first ever spot in the state tournament after an impressive performance at the Super Regional Tournament in Columbus, and they won the team award for Best Robot Design for the innovative engineering and problem-solving approach with their robot. So congratulations again to Westtown Elementary School. As you know, several years ago, we had no, we had a couple of robotics teams at our high schools, none at the middle school, none at the elementary school. Now every school has a robotics team, and so I think that's great. Our Carter G. Wilson Black History Trivia Bowl had both the middle school and the high school competitions. Robert Cross, I think for the second year in a row, won the middle school competition, and Westover for the first time. They dethroned Dougherty, who was the 2-year reigning champs. Westover won the high school competition. So congratulations to both of them. The academic decathlon, you see both Monroe and Westover participated recently in the state academic decathlon competition. You'll see the prizes they received there, silver and bronze in several categories for both schools. And Monroe was the Page State Division II second runner-up, and Westover qualified for the National Academic Decathlon online competition. So congratulations to both of those schools for their outstanding achievements. And our star student and star teacher, we want to recognize them, of course. We had a community luncheon last month, where we recognized Miss Samantha Aberdeen and her from Monroe High School, Takaria Thomas from Dougherty High School, and Peyton Bush from Westover High School. That's star students. Of course, they chose Miss Antonio Laitler, Miss Moody, and Miss Wiley as their star teachers. And the interesting part, Miss Moody is actually a teacher at Lamar Reese Sherwood Elementary School. She was at Lamar Reese when she taught the student, and she's at Sherwood now. And so she remembered the impact that the teacher had on her ever since elementary school, and she became named her as her star teacher. So that just shows the lasting impact teachers have on their students. We want to acknowledge that this month is CTAE Education Month in Georgia, and we recognize the value, achievements, and accomplishments of CTAE programs nationwide. On the athletic front, we have Sweet 16. We want to congratulate Dougherty girls and Westover boys for making it to the Sweet 16 of the Georgia High School Association State Basketball Tournament. I want to congratulate Dougherty High boys and Monroe girls for making it to the Elite 8 of the Georgia High School Association State Basketball Tournament. And finally, I want to recognize Monroe High School for making it to the Final Four. They had an impressive win last night at home, 30-point victory over Jefferson High School, and they will compete Friday at 7 p.m. at Fort Valley against Cedar Grove for a chance to play in the state championship. And then middle school athletics, we want to congratulate Raven Springs Middle Magnet School of the Arts. The boys basketball team won the Deep South Middle School Athletics Conference Championship. And so I want to congratulate them on that amazing achievement. And that at one point, we just competed with Dougherty High School team, Dougherty County teams. We've expanded now to the Deep South Middle School Conference includes Dougherty County, Lee County, Worth, Fitzgerald, I think Irwin County, and several other counties. So we have a broad base of teams that we compete against. And so our Radom Middle School Panthers, Radom Middle Magnet School of the Arts Panthers won the basketball championship for the Deep South Athletics Conference. So congratulations to them. Are there any questions about that report? If not, Madam Chair, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much. I needed to ask you, ma'am, what questions or comments about the tax allocation district updates and the fiscal year 26 budget calendar.
I think that the tax allocation district information was put in your book, and that's just if you recall years ago, okay. The tax allocation district. The board agreed to participate in the tax allocation district, and that's an economic development initiative spearheaded by the city, but requires participation of all taxing authorities. And so what that does in general, it freezes the tax valuation of the properties in the tax allocation district so that it encourages people to come in and redevelop the properties, improve the properties, and they would not be taxed on the increased value based on those improvements. That spurs economic development, and the city provides a report every year, and I provided a copy of that report, and it just goes into some of the highlights of the tax allocation district, as well as the financial report of the tax allocation district. And in terms of the budget calendar, every year we start a budget development for the next fiscal year. That process has already begun with meetings with our budget managers from the various schools and departments, and you'll see the tentative dates for the budget items as we develop the FY26 budget calendar. With the date to circle is that we anticipate having a budget ready for vote for the board at the June 9th meeting. Okay. Any questions, Madam Chair, about either of those two updates?
No, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
May we kindly have a motion to move into executive session?
Well, I think we can, we can go to the regular meeting if you want to.
I think the regular,
You're ready? Okay, I just, okay, all right.
I'd like to do the regular meeting since we have already here. And if there are no further questions, then we'll move into our meeting, our regular meeting. Would you please stand for a moment of silence and the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Superintendent, do we have any public comments or presentations at this time?
No, ma'am.
Any, thank you. Let me, hasten to welcome you to our regular meeting. And I'd like to make the statement that our chairperson is away today for a new board member chair training. And we are happy to support her in that session. Okay. And then we'd like to call the meeting to formal order at this time. So do we have any public comments or presentation?
No, ma'am, no
Okay,
further comments.
thank you kindly. All right, then may we please have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, the motion passed, the agenda is adopted. Okay, do we have any changes to the minutes of the board meeting that was held on February 10th, 2025? If not, I should like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. The board minute. Mhm.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
I move that we approve the minutes.
maybe have.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and second to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion passes. The minutes are approved. And this time, we'd like to entertain a motion to approve a consent agenda, items 2 through 5.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Thank you. The consent agenda is approved. Okay. Do we have any announcements?
No, ma'am, no announcements other than the, I think we left in the board members' book, Lift Every Voice.
Lift every voice, yes. The chair had asked that we really emphasize the fact that our own scholars will be singing this evening at 6:30 p.m. at the Albany Municipal Auditorium. I think some of you have the handout that the kind lady, Mrs. Sanders, provided for us. We thank her for that. Okay? Do we have other business to address at this time? If not, I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session.
Madam Chair, I have a motion that we move into executive session.
Thank you.
Is that for personnel, student matters?
Oh,
and
yes,
property?
okay, for personnel, student matters, and of course, property, right? Prime property. Yes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second that we move into executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Thank you. We are moving into executive session. All right. And with our business taken care of, can we sign the executive session?
Yes, we have the form.
I remember that form. All right, no other business to come before the board today. I'll entertain a motion for us to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is motion second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Well, all opposed, nay. Nay. The motion passes. We are adjourned.